welcome to Das German Kritik. Weil hey, außer mir macht's ja keiner. Now, in recent times, here on Das German Kritik, we've taken a look at more, shall we say, adult-oriented films. Now, sure, there are some exceptions such as Die Wolke, which is actually geared towards younger teen audiences, but for the most part, most films I've previously reviewed are intended for older teens and adults. So, until my very first milestone, episode 25, we're going to take a look at strictly kids-oriented stuff. I meant actually oriented towards kids. Not shit like this. But Balto and Adventure's Rescue is a good transition into this episode's review, as I mentioned that parts of that movie were inspired by Little Polar Bear 2. And I can't believe I actually have to do this, but I actually have to correct something with respects to a Dingo Pictures production. Turns out, Balto and Adventure's Rescue didn't rip off Little Polar Bear 2, it ripped off its predecessor. So, since we're going to take a look at a few kids' movies, a few kids' books, and a kids' show over the next few episodes, it only makes sense that we start with the first movie in the Little Polar Bear franchise. Written and illustrated by Dutch author Hans de Beer, Little Polar Bear tells the charming story of a young polar bear getting lost and finding his way back home. The book spawned several sequels, a TV series, as well as 2 feature-length films. So put on your snowshoes, again, as we take a look at Der Kleine Eisbär, der Kinofilm. Little Polar Bear, the movie. So the film begins with Lars' father Mika, no, not that Mika, voiced by Ingolf Lück, as he and 3 other polar bears are out hunting seals. However, Mika manages to trash their entire hunting efforts when a group of seagulls tell him that he has become a father. And how does he trash the hunting efforts? By blurting it out to everyone in hearing distance. Cut to Lars, voiced by Michael Verona, together with his friend Greta, voiced by Jeanette Biedermann. Greta challenges Lars to a swimming competition when it is revealed that Lars... Aww, would you look at that? A shitty piece of animation trying to be part of this review. Well, not with me it isn't. Our film has standards. Anyway, as said, Greta challenges Lars to a swimming competition when it is revealed that Lars can't swim. Coincidence? A while later, we're introduced to a group of lemmings as well as Lena, voiced by this person here. Lena and Lars then go sledding on pieces of wood, at which Lars fails spectacularly as he eventually gets knocked off. Luckily for him, he then meets Robby the seal, voiced by Maximilian Artajo. And how do you think their first meetup goes? Well, you know what? I'll just spoil it for you right here. Lars almost dies. Yes, while chasing Robby around, Lars falls into one of the many holes in the ice and almost dies. And as if almost dying wasn't bad enough, the two get interrupted by Greta, who has some choice words to say about Lars' new friend.
Lars, du unterhältst dich mit einer Robbe? Wir sollen doch nicht mit Robben reden.
Ja, weiß ich auch, aber...
Was aber?
Du wirst doch keinem davon erzählen. Auch nicht meinem Vater, oder? Du kriegst doch den Fisch. Hier, Fisch auf Fisch, Greta.
Vergiss es, Lars. Komm lieber bald nach Hause und mach dir keine Gedanken. Über meine Lippen kommt kein Wort.
I mean, it does make sense on some level. I mean, Robby is basically what's for Lars' dinner after all. The film then gives us a complete non sequitur as it cuts to Manili, an Inuit girl voiced by Vanessa Petrou, catching fish and bringing the catch to her village. And I'm gonna let you have some fun in trying to figure out when this actually takes place. At first, I thought it was just a generic time period that could happen at any point in history. But the village Manili lives in looks more like something out of 1900 than a modern-day Inuit village in Nunavut or Alaska. Then I saw the old-fashioned radio, and I assumed it takes place between the 1920s and 1940s. But a while later, we see that our boat is powered by a motor, so it's obviously in modern day. Stop confusing me, movie. I mean, it's already weird enough to know that the seals know their polar bear dinner, and they're completely cool with that. And as if this wasn't weird enough, we then also meet Manili's grandmother, who appears to be psychic or something. Cut to Robby and Lars, and we see that the two don't listen to their parents and continue to hang out with each other. The two come across the three polar bears from the beginning of the movie, trying to hunt down Robby's family. Again, what the fuck? The two are spotted and get chased to a shipwreck in the middle of nowhere, where Lars discovers two photos in the hull of the ship. And honestly, I have no idea what the significance here is. If you pause the movie at the right spot, you can clearly see the photo of the woman is labeled Florence 1892, and the other seems to be some group photo of some Arctic expedition or something. If any one of you out there knows more about it, contact me under this email. At sunset, Lars returns home and comes across the polar bears he was chased by arguing with his father. They get into a fight until this walrus, voiced by Wolfgang Völtz, breaks it up and suggests the following.
Hört auf! Schluss jetzt! So können wir das Problem doch nicht lösen. Du redest mal ganz in Ruhe mit Lars. Und ich sorge dafür, dass Vater Robby dasselbe mit Robby tut. Und ihr? Ihr macht erst mal ein Nickerchen. Morgen sieht die Welt dann wieder ganz anders aus.
So Mika then has the chat with Lars about Robby and basically tells his son that what he and Robby are doing is against the natural order of things. Of course, being the disobedient shits that they are, Lars and Robby meet again at the shipwreck and get caught again. For some reason, this reminds me of the plot to Jupiter Ascending, but I can't imagine why. This leads to the polar bears and seals meeting with Sage Walrus to discuss what to do about the situation. Among the seals and polar bears are also these four lemmings who we see early on in the movie. But, hey, they don't count. What the fuck? I told you to fuck off. What are they doing in this movie? Nothing much. Except deliver us the greatest scene in this film. A suicide scene. I'm not joking. After being told how fucking useless they are and that they don't matter to anyone, all four try to throw themselves off an icy cliff. As if the thing with the polar bears and the seals wasn't messed up enough. But wait, it gets even weirder than that. How, you may ask? By introducing a singing penguin named Caruso, voiced by Dirk Bach, whom the lemmings decide to follow. And how does everyone react to this weird bird that just showed up out of nowhere? Well, apart from the initial shock, not at all. I'm serious. They never address this. They never ask him where he's from, how he even managed to cross an entire ocean, or why the fuck he can't fly like all the other birds in the Arctic. To say that Caruso is a deus ex avum would be an overstatement. After this, Lars and Robby come up with a plan so that everyone can peacefully coexist. The seals will catch fish for the bears, and in return, the bears will protect the seals. I sure hope that doesn't backfire in any way. While sleeping next to his father that night, though, Lars gets separated when the ice floe he sleeps on breaks away and floats out to sea. After an encounter with an ironclad, he finds a barrel to climb into and eventually lands somewhere in South America. Judging by the toucans, at least. Or Africa, when he meets Hippo, voiced by Harry Rowohlt, who shows him the beauty of the African wild and the African sunset. Even though Lars clearly wouldn't be able to survive in this climate. Lars tells Hippo about feeling homesick, and Hippo suggests talking to Drago the Eagle, voiced by Frank Laubrecht. But, you see, we never actually see Hippo talking to Drago. The film just cuts to the next scene, and we see Drago taking Lars as far as Drago will go, until Drago drops Lars off at an orca, who'll do the rest. While Lars is being taken home, though, we again see the ironclad from earlier, and it's revealed that this is in fact a large-scale fishing boat. And here is where we get into the film's second major theme. It has an environmental message. Yet, unlike Ferngully or Avatar, this movie actually manages to be kind of subtle about it. Unlike certain other films about the Arctic. What is your fucking problem? Piss off! So, as said, and we clearly see the effect the boat has when both the humans and the bears are catching less and less fish and can't figure out why. This uncertainty is also the reason why Robby and Lars decide to infiltrate the humans' village, as they assume that humans are behind the decline of the fish population. And what do you think? Do you really honestly think they can pull off this entire stealth operation without anything going wrong? No. Of course Lars gets caught by Manili, who brings her into her house and gives him fish sticks to eat. There, he also witnesses an odd ceremony held by Manili's grandmother, during which the humans learn of the existence of the ironclad, which they call Blackmouth, with the help of bullshit native mysticism. Whatever works, I guess. Manili finally brings Lars home on the motorboat I talked about earlier, where he is immediately scolded by his father for entering the human settlement. So this is turning into a Dingo Pictures production now? You know, the ones where all the father characters, for some inexplicable reason, always hate their kids. Unsurprisingly, Lars doesn't take it very well and runs off. At the most inconvenient time, however, as the ironclad has reached their neck of the woods, or frozen wasteland. The ship attacks, and the seals, as well as the 3 polar bears, get sucked into the big mouth-like opening. Luckily, Lars has an idea of how to get rid of the ship and save everyone inside. His genius idea, you may ask? Lure the ship against the giant rock, hoping it'll shatter on impact. You know what? That actually does sound like a pretty good plan. Oh, no, wait. It sounds fucking retarded. I mean, at best, Lars is gonna get everyone in the ship trapped, and they're all gonna die. And at worst, Lars is gonna cause an oil spill, ruining the entire ecosystem that they were actually trying to save. But, being a kids' movie, this film has no need for such trivial facts such as reality, and Lars's plan eventually works. The ship collides with the rock, sinks, and while hitting the bottom of the sea, the giant mouth opens, allowing everyone to get out. Whew, what a lucky bastard. So, this was Kleine Eisbär, der Kinofilm. Little Polar Bear, the movie. Was it good? Was it bad? Well, let's start off with some of the good stuff in this movie, because there's definitely some good stuff I need to talk about. Firstly, I actually admire the fact that they actually went the extra mile and tried to make the animation and the backgrounds look like the illustrations in the Bear's books. Especially the different shades and colors of the ice were very well done. As was the use of CGI in some places that didn't look all that out of place. Secondly, I love the fact that the animals and humans can't understand each other. I know it sounds weird, but it would have been very easy to make Manili be able to understand Lars and vice versa with the help of the bullshit Inuit magic from the ceremony. You know, like in previous works I had to review, and sure hope I will never ever 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 have to reference again. And thirdly, the DVD itself. Why the DVD, you may ask? Because the German release of this movie actually features a Swiss dub. I am not even kidding. Someone at Warner Brothers Germany made the conscious decision to get a bunch of people together and redub this film in Swiss German. And this is what the very first scene sounds like in Swiss German.
Hey, Kollege, ich habe
Ein Sohn!
Ja, ich hab's doch gewusst. Ich habe einen Sohn.
Mist, ausgerechnet jetzt. Das hast du ja prima angebracht.
Na, mein Glückwunsch.
Just makes you want to shoot an apple off your son's head with a crossbow, doesn't it? But sadly, there are also a few things I didn't like about the movie. And the biggest problem this movie has is editing. Case in point, the scene where the bears get told by the seals that there are no more fish to feed, and the scene where Manili comes home with an empty basket. Those two scenes are played directly back to back. No dissolve, no fades, no nothing. And the editing isn't the only problem. The second one is the pacing. Case in point, when Lars is in the jungle. Hippo and Drago are just introduced out of nowhere without any kind of character development or anything, which for me was really weird to watch. Yet, despite all these issues I have with this film, I wouldn't consider it bad. In fact, I would actually suggest you give it a go. Maybe the editing and pacing works better for you than it did for me. With that said, this was Das German Kritik, and in the next episode, we're going to the zoo. Wait, what the hell's going on here? Why aren't we cutting to the credits? All right, fine. Let's talk about Norm of the North. Yes, I have actually watched this movie. Okay, in part. But this alone should give you an indication of how bad this film is. But not only is it one of the worst animated films to come out in recent years, it seems like this is a straight-up rip-off of Little Polar Bear. Let me quickly list off the similarities. We have a friend / love interest, we have lemmings appearing in both films, we have an environmental message being taught, and in both films we have a plot point about the main character going to the human world to fix a problem that the humans apparently are responsible for. or in Norma the North's case, actually are. But hey, don't take my word for it. Just watch one of these 3 reviews, or just watch all of them, and see for yourself just how bad and how much of a ripoff of Little Polar Bear Norma the North really is. Alright, I'm done. Roll the goddamn credits already.